You're watching Nevada Business Chronicles. Take a journey with us to see the innovative businesses that put Nevada on the business map. Connecting you with the businesses, events, and organizations that bring innovation and prosperity to the Nevada area, please welcome your host, Mitch Burney.
Copy in that direction. We can bring the ground units in and at least get them to start looking. Off the left side, Doug. Time to lock.
Copy in the air.
Got a gazebo, playground. There's Marston's truck right there. Another survivor walking down the stairs. Yep. That's just a description. Blue jeans, blue shirt, suspenders, ball cap. We've got a good visual on him.
Washoe 6 Zebra 92. I'll be out with the subject at North Valley's Park. If you can have fire and REMSA respond, please. You okay?
Yep.
You're not injured?
Nope.
Well, we got to get you back home.
Okay.
I'm going to have the fire department come in and check you out, okay? Let's go back and get you out of the heat. Sit in my patrol car.
Today we're going to look at the Wandering Prevention Program, a program designed for those with dementia and Alzheimer's, operated by the Catholic Charities. And this is Adam Hopkins, the coordinator of the Wandering Prevention Program, and Deputy Sheriff Clint Player. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me here.
Tell me a little bit about the Wandering Prevention Program, what it does, and who you serve.
In 2013, local law enforcement looked at the number of calls for service that they were responding to regarding missing persons. They determined that they had responded to approximately 700 calls for service for missing persons in general. They broke that down and realized that out of that, there were a significant number of folks that were experiencing Alzheimer's or dementia-related issues. A group was put together, was formed, encompassing the Washoe County Sheriff's Office, the Reno Police Department, and Washoe County Social Services. Their goal was to come up with strategies, new strategies, to help alleviate that problem and to free up law enforcement and ultimately to find people more quickly and preserve life. The way they determined they should do that was to use a technology that was already out on the market called CareTrack. What they found through their research was that in Washoe County, northern Nevada, there are 18,000 people who have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia-related issues. Of that 18,000 in northern Nevada, 10,000 reside in Washoe County alone. What's more disturbing is that out of those 10,000, 7 out of 10 are going to wander from their caregivers. So the number that we have been responding to is actually probably low and is going to increase. So it was very important that they come up with a way to solve this problem, or at least make an impact on the problem. So what they chose to go with was a product called CareTrack. So as far as the CareTrack program itself, it started as a one-phase program, but here in Washoe County we decided to make it a two-phase program, and Deputy Player is going to explain that entire process to you.
We realized that any first responder responding to a call had no resources to give the families that had somebody that had walked away from their home. So instead of just saying, I don't know what to do, it's a medical issue and not a law enforcement issue, we decided, well, let's give them resources. And that was the first phase. So with the partnerships and sponsors of the Washoe County Sheriff's Office, Alzheimer's Association of Northern Nevada, Washoe County Social Services, Catholic Charities of Northern Nevada, Reno Police and Sparks Police, and St. Mary's Hospital, we came up with these resource kits. Every patrol car in Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County will have these in their cars. So this time, when we go out to a call that is related to dementia or Alzheimer's, we now have something to give the families to help them get connected with the resources they need. Inside the bag we have a resource disc, which is good on the computer, and a DVD player, and this will provide all the different resources locally in our community. Along with the disc, we have several different flyers and pamphlets to help the families actually know exactly what services would be best to provide for them. Along with the resource pamphlets, we have the Care Track flyer. The Care Track flyer advertises exactly what the equipment is that we are using. We'll talk about that. That's the second phase of the program. But this way it helps get them connected and familiar with the equipment that we do use. Also in the bag, we have some simple solutions that the family members may use, which might help prevent the family members from wandering. We've got the child lock doorknob that will help protect them from accessing the door outside. We've got an alarm system with the batteries, and it just applies by tape that they can apply on the door. It sends an audible alarm. We've got a screwdriver to help install, and a chain lock that they can apply up high. We also have a home alarm system that's available to the clients free of charge, which will access all the entry and exit points of the home, including windows. And another product that we do offer is the Smart Sole. It's a GPS that fits inside the shoe of the client.
This is the heart of the Phase 2 portion of our program the Deputy Player was talking about. It is a radio frequency transmitter. Now, it's not GPS. GPS is more expensive, it's less accurate, it requires charging on a daily basis. This radio frequency is fitted with a battery on the back that lasts up to 2 months. On the front there is a radio frequency printed. We have reserved that frequency here in Washoe Valley. So when each of these is programmed with that radio frequency, we can input that into our tracking device and help find the folks that have wandered. So I am called to a home where someone has the need for this device. While I'm there, I talk to the person about the best place to have this installed or for them to wear it. We offer several selection of bands. This one is one of the cloth bands. We have a lighter plastic band, and we have a very heavy-duty plastic band with metal infused throughout that attaches with a metal screw. The problem with some of these bands, as opposed to the heavier band, is that they can be broken or cut. So we have to choose the band that's best for the individual. So once I have determined that, I take the transmitter, I apply the battery onto the back, and I place it into this plastic case that has a back that screws on. On that is a rubber gasket that tightens down, and it keeps the device water resistant. I won't say waterproof, but I will say water resistant. I tighten that down, and I use a tool to do that normally. And then the band goes through the plastic watch case and around the person's ankle or wrist. And at that point, all they do is forget about it. They go about their daily lives. They don't have to worry about whether they take a shower, whether they cover it up with clothing. It works through all of that. So while I'm there on scene, I also take the opportunity to talk to the family about resources and programs that they might want to put their loved one in or might be helpful to them. I also take that opportunity to take a lot of information, get a lot of information from the family members. Once I gather all this information, I place it all in a web application that we've had developed here locally. That's different than the other systems that are used around the country. Ours is unique to Washoe County. We ask questions about personal identifiers. We take a picture of the person. We take a picture of the transmitter. We ask information about emergency contacts, doctors, medications, habits, characteristics. We also ask the family, has your family member wandered before? If so, where did they wander to? Where were they located? Where did they previously work? So, because many of these people end up going back to places that are familiar to them. So we want to know where they used to live. We might want to know where they used to work because they may want to go back there because they feel comfortable there. We take all of that information, put it in that application that can be accessed from a desktop computer, but more importantly, it can be accessed by the officer on the scene so that he can immediately pull up all of that information and have it at his fingertips. What else is very unique about this app is that officer or dispatch can press a button on the app that activates that particular client. What that does is sends a text to every person that is currently enrolled on the app, not the clients, but officers. So now we not only have the one person on scene that is now responsible for trying to find this person, but we could potentially have hundreds of people that are now able to look for this missing person.
This is the equipment we use once the CareTrack client has been activated. This is the handheld antenna. It's directional. We can locate somebody within 1 mile. On the backpack here, every first responder that has been trained in CareTrack will be provided one of these backpacks. And inside we have the receiver, which is the brain of the unit. And this is what we use to actually locate. We also have in this bag a space blanket, bottled water, snacks in case we get on scene and they've been dehydrated, they've been there a while, or even if the tracker himself needs water. So we try to provide everything we can for both the safety of the searcher and the victim themselves. With this equipment, we can go up in the helicopter, we can locate the subject within 5 miles. Another great thing about this is we have an average find time of 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes, national average.
If somebody watching right now knows somebody that would benefit from one of these tracking devices, what's the cost?
That's the beauty of this program, Mitch. As it stands right now, it is absolutely free to the users. So folks that have family members that need this product, it costs them nothing. So I would really like to take an opportunity here to thank the Washoe County Social Services, the St. Mary's Hospital, and other community partners. And although they are very generous and they've allowed us to start the program and maintain the program as it stands now, we can always use more community partners.
The sustainability of this program is paramount. We're talking about, protecting people in our society that are really in need of our care as a community. So I really urge people and businesses and individuals and philanthropists to really support the continuation of this program. It's really a vital part of our community and amazing program.
Really, if you have somebody or they have someone who is in need of this service right now, right today, I want them to call me. I'm going to give you my phone number. It's 775-378-9754. Don't wait another minute. Call me. I carry the phone with me all the time. I'll set up a time where I can come out and sign up your loved one.
On behalf of our entire community, I want to thank both of you and your entire group for what you do and give to these individuals. Thank you so much.
It's an honor. Thank you.
And on behalf of the Wandering Prevention Program, I would really like to say thank you for helping us with this.
It is truly a privilege, so thank you.
For more information on this guest or to see this show in its entirety, visit nvbusinesschronicles.com. While you're there, you can watch all of our past shows on the Chronicles page and stay connected with us by following us on our social media. Now more from Nevada Business Chronicles.
If you watch this show, you've heard me talking about a new television show we're producing called Sober Footprints. An extremely important show in today's world. We're going to cover the conversations from the family's perspective when they discover that their loved one is suffering from alcoholism or drug addiction. We're going to feature those in recovery that are going to share their stories and inspiration for those that are still suffering. They're going to leave their sober footprint for others to follow. We're also going to visit the institutions and have the conversations necessary as a community to help those individuals get well into recovery and return to productive lives. A business we previously featured on our show found out about this Sober Footprints television show and knew that we were looking for community support, and they asked if they could host a fundraiser to help raise money to cover the production cost. Words cannot express our gratitude. What a great business, great members of our community, and we ask you and invite you to come down and join this event Friday, September 15th from 7 to 9 p.m. at Pino's Palette, Reno West, located at 5110 Mayan Avenue, Suite 702. You don't have to know how to paint. They have an instructor that walks you through the entire painting. Come down, have a good time, support this show, and our gratitude goes out to the generosity of Roger and Nikki Wise for hosting this event for us. thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. If you've never been there, you don't know what you're missing. Let's take a look.
information on this guest or to see this show in its entirety, visit nvbusinesschronicles.com. While you're there, you can watch all of our past shows on the Chronicles page and stay connected with us by following us on our social media. Now more from Nevada Business Chronicles.
We're back with Adam Hopkins, running for sheriff in 2018. Thanks for joining us again.
You're welcome.
Today we're going to have a conversation that will probably surprise a lot of people that we're about to have it. And we're going to talk about LGBTI rights and how they apply to law enforcement and incarceration. So thank you for being open enough to have this conversation. What sparked your desire to talk to us about that today?
There are a couple of reasons why I called and asked if we could have this conversation. One of them is that I have been involved with a local group called the Transgender Allies Group for several years now, attending their meetings because I felt that this population needed to be heard and needed to have a platform. So I felt as an ally to that group, I could actually make a difference. I'm also a Department of Justice auditor, as I've explained previously, where I deal with LGBTI issues in jails and prisons. But more importantly, I look at what's happening in our country today and look at law enforcement and look at our citizens feeling the need to police their police. And if that is the way our society is feeling now, there's absolutely something wrong. And I think that LGBTI issues is just one of those. And we're going to have further conversations about this as we move forward in this process. But today I'd really like to focus on the LGBTI issues and why we need to address that with our community.
What's really interesting is if you try to judge a book by its cover, I would not have guessed that you've been attending these TAG Transgender Ally Group meetings for as long as you have. It's obvious that you're committed to a platform that's on your website called Bridging the Gap. And let's talk about that part of this, because that's just one piece of the gap that you feel exists between community and law enforcement. So let's talk about the issues that affect the transgender LGBTI members of our community and how that applies to law enforcement as well.
You know, it's interesting you should say that I don't look a certain way. If you were to speak to members of the LGBTI community here, they would tell you that it's imperative that we not judge somebody by the way they look, because the way they look is not necessarily who they are. So we have to be very careful with that. But one of my platforms on my website is bridging the gap. So this is absolutely a gap, but there are many, many other gaps that we're going to have to bridge. And the LGBTI gap just happens to be in the forefront right now. And so as we move forward and figure out what the best course of action is for law enforcement has to be in that conversation.
This does present challenges, I would maybe call them, for law enforcement in their interactions in the public. And it also, I just found out, really affects how these individuals are incarcerated. So let's talk about how this really applies to law enforcement.
Our citizens should not ever have to worry about their interactions with law enforcement at any level. It doesn't matter what their religion is, what their sexual orientation is, what their skin color is. Every citizen in this valley needs to be treated with respect and dignity. And the sheriff that runs this department needs to understand that intrinsically and be able to communicate that with their employees and with the citizens of Washoe County. And I'm that guy. I can bring about the filling of that gap, and that's my plan. It doesn't just happen though when we are interacting with citizens on the street, because ultimately people are going to be incarcerated. So we need to deal with all of the issues that anybody would face when they're incarcerated. So when it comes to the LGBTI community, it has to do with identification and housing and medical care, essentially all the same things that any inmate of any race or sexual orientation would have to face. So in one way it's very specific, in other ways it's very general. We just need to treat everybody as we would like to be treated and as they deserve to be treated.
What fascinated me was something you recently posted on your Facebook, which was that when it comes to the transgender population, that this really applies to potential in-custody fatalities. So talk to me about that.
There was a recent study in Nevada that showed that 67% of transgenders have thought about suicide. 38% had actually attempted suicide. So when they come into our custody, it's imperative that we train to recognize the issues that they may be facing and keep them safe, as we do with anybody that's in our custody. Remember what I said previously, our two missions in detention are care and custody of inmates.
Speaking of in-custody fatalities, that's one thing that can lead to them if people are not prepared and trained for that. You're also a certified trainer on the subject of excited delirium, and we've recently in Washoe County had a couple of those cases causing death. So talk to me about that.
The dopamine in your brain builds and builds and builds, and because your body is not able to metabolize that, when that happens in your hypothalamus, you have what they call a heat event. So you have hyperthermia. And when I say hyperthermia, I'm not talking about 101, 102 degrees. I'm talking anywhere from 106 to 110 degrees. That will immediately shut down your brain and cause a heart-related event where a person can die within seconds. This is a syndrome that can occur within seconds. So if officers are trained to recognize the signs and symptoms and then trained how to deal with them so that we keep them alive, so we stop treating them as an inmate until we can make sure that they are safe and healthy, treat them as a patient, then we can go back to treating them as an inmate. We have to keep them alive. We need to keep them alive long enough to get them to medical care. And I'm not talking about simple CPR training. I'm talking about advanced medical care.
Before you retired, you were training at the Washoe County Sheriff Office, excited delirium classes. And just after one, something happened. Tell me about that.
Shortly after I began training deputies in the jail on excited delirium, we had a gentleman come in as an inmate that was suffering from excited delirium. I watched the tape of this entire incident, and I could hear one of the officers that I had trained actually say, "I believe this is excited delirium." And what was so exciting was that they immediately shifted from treating this person as an inmate to treating this person as a patient, because they knew if they didn't intercede medically right then and there, that this person could die. This person was transported immediately to the local hospital. He died once on the way and was brought back. While he was at the hospital, he died another time, and they brought him back. We started getting phone calls saying, "You better prepare because this person is not going to make it." Ultimately, he lived. Wow. So our deputies, through this training, saved this man's life. So I started being used by my agency to train all the deputies as they were going through the academy. That is exactly what needed to happen. I was so excited to be able to give this information. And then at some point they simply stopped using us and stopped using me to train. And I'm not sure what caused that, but I can tell you the outcome was we had 2 excited delirium deaths recently.
Do I understand correctly, you actually received an award for that life that was saved?
Yes, I did receive an award from the Institute for the Prevention of In-Custody Death. It was the Agitated Chaotic Events Award. However, that award really should not have gone to me. It was given to me because I was the one that presented it and trained it, but it really should have gone to the officer who identified it. He's the one that actually saved that life, along with all the other deputies that were there that night.
Here's what I absolutely love about you running for Washoe County Sheriff in 2018. You don't just talk about the issues, you have real life solutions for them. You're already in the conversation, and hopefully the things that you're talking about will be in place even before you take office. Thank you so much for joining us again and for your commitment to our community and the safety of the inmates.
You're welcome.
For more information on this guest or to see this show in its entirety, visit nvbusinesschronicles.com. While you're there, you can watch all of our past shows on the Chronicles page and stay connected with us by following us on our social media. For information on becoming a guest on our show, contact us at info@nvbusinesschronicles.com. We hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week at the same time for more from Nevada Business Chronicles.